University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. Hello and welcome. My name is David Stouffer and I get to be the recruitment coordinator for the UMSL College of Education. Each week on this podcast, we will meet an innovator in the field of education. We will spend some time getting to know them and learning about their work and how it can help you in yours. It is my sincere hope that this podcast will be a source of encouragement and support as you work to continue impacting lives as an educator. My guest today is Dr. Mary Suter, Assistant Vice President and Economic Education Officer of the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. Dr. Suter leads a team of educators who develop educational resources for use with pre-K through adult audiences and provide professional development for educators. Prior to joining the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, Dr. Suter was director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and Economic Education at the University of Missouri St. Louis for 3 years and associate director for 10 years. Dr. Suter holds a Bachelor of Science degree in economics from the University of Missouri St. Louis, Master of Arts in Economic Education from the University of Delaware, and a PhD in Curriculum and Instruction from the University of Missouri St. Louis. Welcome, Dr. Suter. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, David. I'm glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. You've had quite a journey in your career. I'm very interested to know more about where you started in your career and how you wound up where you are now with the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis.
Well, sure. I started out as an engineering student at the University of Missouri-Rolla, which is now, as you know, MSNT, and ended up having to come back to St. Louis, and I had a lot of engineering and math credit. So I started at UMSL and started in business and took some economics courses and really didn't enjoy the business courses so much. I really enjoyed the economics courses, and one of the female faculty members encouraged me to major in economics. So I got my undergraduate degree in economics from the University of Missouri St. Louis. And then I was looking for a job. I had kids at home and I was looking for a job with that degree. And that same faculty person hired me to work in the Center for Economic Education at UMSL part-time. And so I began my career in economic education there. I then went on to get a master's in economic education from the University of Delaware, came back and worked full-time at the Center for Economic Education at UMSL. Ended up being the assistant director, then the associate director, and then eventually became the director of the center. And in the process, pursued my PhD from the College of Education in teaching and learning. And I have had a lot of great experiences in economic education. As I said, I directed the center there for several years and then had the opportunity to take a position here at the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, working in their economic education program, and was lucky enough to come into the St. Louis Fed when they were wanting to develop a lot of resources and materials and programming for teachers that would be available online, in person and online. And so I've had the opportunity to do a great many things and develop a lot of curriculum materials and work with teachers. And it's very exciting to have the opportunities that I've had. And it's been a wonderful, wonderful career, a great experience at UMSL and here at the Federal Reserve Bank.
So I have to ask you before we move on, you went to UMSL for your undergrad. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people, when they leave St. Louis to go to a master's degree program, might go to a beautiful tropical place in Southern California or Florida. How did you wind up getting your master's degree from the University of Delaware?
So the University of Delaware has probably the premier center for economic education in the country. And they offer and have offered for more than 20 years a master's degree in economic education. And there aren't any other universities in the country that offer something similar. So it's a mix of economics courses, education courses, strategies for teaching economics, tools for developing curriculum materials in economics. It's a kind of a very niche program. They probably take 25 to 30 students in a 2-year cohort. And so I was lucky enough to be accepted into that program. I went 2 summers for 8 weeks and then took coursework in between the summers, and did implementation projects and wrote a master's thesis. But that's how I ended up there.
Okay, we'll give you a pass on that one. That's a good,
Yeah.
legitimate reason. We'll accept that.
Oh, thanks.
Dr. Suter, you clearly have a passion to support educators in their work teaching economics and finance in the schools today. Where did that passion come from, and how does your work now allow you to provide those supports?
Well, I really think the passion for education came from my mother. My mother, I don't think there were many days that went by in my life when my mother didn't say, get an education. You need an education. No one can take an education away from you. My mother was a working mother in times when mothers didn't work. And she had clerical positions, and she had some negative experiences in those positions with some of her male bosses. And she was kind of forward thinking in that respect. She wanted me to get an education so I could have a job where I might be leading rather than working for someone else. And so I think some of the passion comes from that. And then learning economics really turned a light bulb on for me as a student and really helped me to understand the world. And I wanted to have that same experience for other students. And so I'm really passionate about that. And then the personal finance aspects. Personal finance is really a subfield of economics, applying the economic decision-making tools to your personal life. And that's a skill that everyone needs. So I really firmly believe that to be civically literate in the United States, you need to understand the economy and how it works. And you need to have personal finance skills so that you make strong personal decisions about your own finances, and those aggregate up to the benefit of the entire economy. So I'm passionate about that. I want people to have those skills, because something else that happened in my early life is that my parents suffered tremendously with financial difficulties. By the time I was 18, they had filed bankruptcy a couple of times. And I learned from that experience. And that experience was primarily my father's doing. My mother had pretty sound financial skills, and again, taught me a lot about that. And I wanted to avoid any of the pitfalls that I saw for them. And I wanted to help other people avoid those same pitfalls, learn and be proactive about their financial lives.
You mentioned personal finance. One of the exciting initiatives that's currently underway is the personal finance graduate certificate offered in partnership between the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis and the University of Missouri St. Louis. Talk about this graduate program, how it could benefit current educators here in St. Louis and across the state of Missouri, and how you came about helping get this program started.
So that's a really exciting initiative for me. We began talking with folks at UMSL quite some time ago. I want to say probably eight or more years ago, we began some conversations about coming up with a program that would help teachers who are teaching personal finance with the content they needed, as well as with good strategies and solid pedagogy for teaching personal finance. In the state of Missouri, students are required to meet a personal finance requirement. They can do that by taking a personal finance course. They can do that by testing out, or they can do that by taking a course into which personal finance has been integrated in some way. The trick is that any certified teacher in the state of Missouri can teach personal finance regardless of their previous experience with personal finance content. And so providing some content instruction, as well as some really great hands-on curriculum materials for teaching personal finance, was really the driving force behind trying to make this project happen. And most recently, working with the Dean Kirsten with the College of the Arts and Sciences, and Ann Taylor with the College of Education, they were so helpful in developing a partnership that would allow us to do both, provide the content teachers needed and provide the information strategies, pedagogy, and tools they needed to really improve instruction in classrooms so that students don't see personal finance as that boring course with all the worksheets and math they don't like, but rather a course that prepares them for life. And so I'm really excited that this has come to fruition, that we will be able to have a cadre of teachers participate in this program this summer. And it is 12 hours of graduate credit. So there are four courses. 2 courses are through the economics department, and they focus on the content of teaching personal finance and decision making, and how we all fit into the economic system. And then the other 2 courses are education courses that focus on teaching cognitive science and how people learn, and the best way to teach personal finance content.
I heard you say, I think I heard you say that any certification, a teacher with any certification could pursue this degree. There's no prerequisite certification track that you have to have in order to pursue this program.
Right, because the state of Missouri says that any certified teacher, regardless of certification, can teach the high school personal finance course. So we want to prepare those people who are going to be teaching that course, regardless of what their certification. If they've been assigned, I can think of at least one example here in the St. Louis area where a gym teacher was assigned to teach personal finance because they needed someone to teach it. That person could take this certification to help them better prepared, better equipped to teach the course.
And just to clarify, this is not a program that gives the students certification in personal finance, because it's not needed in the state of Missouri. This is a graduate certificate to give current teachers the training and the content knowledge and the skills necessary to teach the course if they're either currently teaching it or they want to teach it. Is that basically accurate?
Absolutely. That's exactly correct.
I understand that the first part of the program is a week-long session at the Federal Reserve Bank this summer. Is that correct?
Correct. Barring a resurgence of pandemic issues that might cause us to pivot, we are currently planning an in-person week-long program, a welcoming event that will include faculty and administrators from the university and colleagues here at the Fed, and then 5 days of active learning strategies and teaching. And then having completed that week, teachers will then be able to complete the online components, the other courses. And then when the cadre of teachers has completed the 4 courses, we will then have a celebration here at the Fed to provide those certificates and celebrate their success, and hopefully have them be advocates for us to recruit other teachers into the program in the future.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. It sounds like a great opportunity for any teacher that has any desire to teach or is currently teaching personal finance. So we encourage everybody that's interested to contact us to learn more. My contact information is probably the easiest place to start, and then I can direct you to the appropriate person. My contact information is DASTOFER, DASTOFER at UMSL.edu is my email address. My mobile phone number is 314-243-0773. We have some events in the works, including a potential virtual information night, hopefully in the month of April, and some other opportunities for you to learn more. So be on the lookout for that. Dr. Suter, before we end our time, is there anything else you wanted to share about this program or anything else in your work?
Well, I just encourage teachers who are interested in the certification, the certificate program to reach out to you. We're really excited about it and looking forward to having a cadre of teachers participate this summer. And I'd also suggest that we have other programs. If you're teaching AP high school economics, if you're teaching an economics course, if you are teaching personal finance in elementary or middle school, we have events planned this summer for you as well. So you can go to stlouisfed.org/education and you'll see our events tab and you can learn about other programs we have. We are offering this summer, and all of that programming is free for teachers. So we'd love to have elementary, middle school teachers join us this summer for those programs, or AP high school econ teachers. We'd love to have you. So.
Well, Dr. Suter, it's an honor to speak with you today. Thank you so much for your work. Thank you so much for your passion in education. I love it. It's a perfect partnership between the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis, UMSL, and educators across the St. Louis and Missouri and Illinois area. So thank you for your work, and thank you for being here today to speak with us on the UMSL College of Education podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. This was great. I appreciate it.
I am honored that you chose to join me today for the University of Missouri St. Louis College of Education podcast. I hope you'll join me next time. Till then, I'm David Stouffer. Thank you for the work you do. Never forget, you are making a difference every day.